Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. This is the Talking Trains show. And I'm looking outside momentarily, coming to you live from, at least on my side, from California, where it's a little bit cloudy, but otherwise a pretty nice day.
We had one of those Colorado spring days where this morning it was chilly and then the sun came out and it was so warm it was t-shirt weather. So I walked to Rotary, and when I came out of Rotary, it was cold, windy, cloudy, and rainy in 1 hour. And
Yeah.
so I got a little rained on
Yeah.
today.
Welcome to Colorado, right?
And tomorrow's high, I think, is 40. So it's winter again tomorrow. But we had 80 the other day. So,
Yeah. Well,
spring.
I mean, I know before when we would go to Estes Park, we'd have all four seasons in one day. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. And I know the higher in elevation you go, the more it gets to be like that. So,
Yes.
yeah.
So welcome to April 2023.
Yeah. April 19th, coming to you live like always. I'm over here doing this thing with the pencil, like Johnny Carson used to do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I actually remember the Johnny Carson show. Probably not many viewers do.
Back when it was on, it was cool to stay up and watch it because, we were staying up past 11. So it was kind of a big deal, right, as a kid. But I've seen some reruns of that show as an adult, and it is just one of the best shows that's ever been on TV.
Really? I don't think I've ever watched it. I always, if I got to stay up late, I always hoped there would be animals on it. Like how he'd bring out the animals, and as a kid, I always liked that. But
That's right. They had the guy wasn't that the guy from National Geographic that would come on with
I
the...
think it was Marlon Perkins or whatever his name was that he would bring on the animals. And
Oh,
and
was
he'd
it
hand him
Marlon?
a chimpanzee and he'd be like, what?
Yeah, was it Marlon Perkins or was that the guy that hung out with
I don't
Marlon
know.
Perkins?
That guy was the Mutual of Omaha guy.
Yeah, Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom.
Wild Kingdom. But I don't know who came on Johnny Carson. Okay, we better talk about something younger, or our viewers are going to be like, I don't know what they're talking about. I'm out.
Well, but it's funny, as we're talking about Johnny Carson, the viewers are just getting higher and higher.
They're all like, who's Johnny Carson? I saw that in the chat.
Yeah. Well,
I like Johnny Cash, like the same era. But
Well, we could almost talk about Johnny Cash because he did the Lionel train commercials. Do you remember those?
I have seen those. Not as a kid. I never saw them until recently.
They're the big trains for little hands. Oh, I just thought of a little hands joke, but I won't say that because it'll probably piss some people off.
Yeah, maybe. I don't want to hear.
Yeah, so we won't go there. Instead, let's talk about train stuff because this is Talking Trains, right?
Yeah, this is Talking Trains. Had a lot of trains in the last month.
Yeah, well, we had some train adventures only 2.5 weeks ago. That was something.
Right.
I'm trying to remember. For some reason, I feel like we've shared some of the Royal Gorge pictures. I think that was on Bernard's show on Mini Prints the week after.
Yeah. That's right.
The week after the the Rocky Mountain Train
Rocky Mountain Train Show. Right.
Right. Yeah. So,
I feel like I've been planning trains like crazy. So I have this T-shirt on, the M Lane Trolley. Look where it's at. It's in Dallas.
Yeah, look at that.
That's one of the rail tours, and so I've been working on that. And those are open for if you want to go to the NMRA National Convention. The tours are open, so you need to go and book them now before they're all filled up if you planned on going any. And then I have the OSCAL National Convention coming up June 8th through 11th, and trying to get that ready. I have a really cool tour plan for it. I have Director Brad from Amtrak coming to Union Station, and our convention's on the A line, kind of by the airport. So we all get on the public train, and we take Adam. Hopefully, Adam Cruz is working that day, and he's our guy.
That would be cool.
Union Station, and then we tour the whole building, and we see the Moffat Cut with Conductor Brad. So if you're an OSCALer and you're watching, you better come to that convention.
Yeah, no, that'll be great. I wish I could go to it, but I can only go back to Colorado so many times, and I'll be going back again here in a few weeks.
Right. And then, with the meet and greet, we also have the National Narrow Gauge in Denver this year. Right after the NMRA convention, you have 3 days to get to Denver for National Narrow Gauge. Or if you just go straight there, you could actually catch the Rio Grande Historic Society's convention. They run right before the National Narrow Gauge. So if you're a Rio Grande fan, definitely plan that week in Colorado. So much going on this year.
You know what? I also am wearing the special shirt of the.
Oh, look what you got. The YouTube meet and greet on.
Yeah. Look how strong I look. Wow.
Spelt, is that a word?
The YouTube meet and greet. So, what is that? From May, what is it, 19th through the 21st or something like that? We're going to be descending upon your area, a whole bunch of people, and doing all kinds of fun stuff. I don't have the Facebook group page here. Let me see if I can just get that link real quick in case anybody's interested in going.
We have a lot of people coming.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people already going.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's because it's going to be a fun event. So I'll post it.
It should be really fun.
Yeah, this is the link. I'm going to put it in the chat on the side of the screen there. So if you're on a computer, it'll pop up on the right side of your screen right about now. There it goes. And if you're interested in convening on Greeley and Cheyenne and Denver and I guess Golden.
Yep, all of them and the Forney. We're doing so many things.
Yeah.
You let me do the planning, we get a lot of stuff in there.
So. Yeah. And you know, I don't know if I told you this. Actually, I don't think I did, Michelle, but I was talking to John Parker. He has the BNSF Fall River Division.
Yeah.
Which is a fairly well-known, large BNSF layout in, I guess, Longmont. And he's actually going to let us come look at his layout on Monday.
Oh.
And then, right. So if you're interested, it's going to be sometime after or around lunchtime. And then on Tuesday.
So if anybody's staying over on Monday, they
right.
could go and I'm sure John would be fine with people seeing his layout. It's fantastic.
Yeah, my thought process there was to have people who are available still on Monday to maybe on their way back to Denver, swing past, John's place and look at a really cool layout.
I think he has a webpage, doesn't he? BNSF Fall River Division.
Yeah. Do you want me to find that too? It's like BNSF something.
Yeah, you can put it in chat. It's bnsfrr.net.
Yeah, I'll copy it here. But again, I mean, this is one of those things that's sort of after the. Here we go. BNSF.
If you're staying over, this is a new add-on because we didn't have enough to do.
Yeah, this is if you happen to still be around and that kind of thing. And of course, as you know, we're going to go back on the Tuesday to go and do a video.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the idea, Michelle, is, and I was talking to John about this earlier, is to go to the layout Monday to see what we're up against. He's going to have basically an open house just for us, meaning us as in whoever's still around that wants to go. And at that time, he'll be running trains. So hopefully I'll be able to record a bunch of trains running on key places on the layout so that we don't have to record that on Tuesday, because we're going to be really.
Oh yeah, good idea. Because
we're going to be really pressed for time on Tuesday to cover everything in a layout of that size all in one day. So
I just got I just saw in chat, I got asked which train t-shirt this is. And so I had to open I keep an album. And so I can tell it's 115 because this little box is empty.
115.
I 115.
I want to see where you keep all these shirts because
I have a closet downstairs here that's like, and some I love more than others. To be honest, this is probably the 5th time I've worn this shirt. I just keep forgetting to take the picture. But I love this shirt so much, I keep wearing it.
Well, I mean, the M line could be Michelle.
It's such a cool trolley line in Dallas. So
speaking of trolleys, I want to ask you, I ran into some people at the Rocky Mountain Train show that are called a group called the Denver Trolley. It's just Denver Trolley.
The Platte Valley Trolley.
Is it Platte Valley? Their card just says Denver Trolley, I think. But
yeah,
I wanted to know if you know much about them, and if you do, what you know about them, because I was talking to the guy there, and I can't remember his name off the top of my head. It's on the video, because as you know, let me just back up for a second in case people watching don't know. I covered the Rocky Mountain Train show both days from open to close. And I spoke with this guy from Denver Trolley on the first day, right before we went to the mini prints to watch to wait a minute. I think it must have been on. Well, so, I don't remember.
So the Denver Trolley has been around a long time. It's been called the Platte Valley Trolley because it runs along the Platte River.
Okay.
What they do is they run from downtown Denver out to the stadium or to where Elitch's is or Six Flags. And they run along the river there. And so if you want to go to a Bronco game, the best thing to do is park on the trolley line and take the trolley down to the stadium. And so it's really cool. It's a downtown Denver trolley. And I don't know a whole lot about their offices or anything, but I have ridden it before.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering because it sounded like something we would have done, but we haven't done it yet. And
I'll just have to add that to the list if I need to go figure out how they do that. I think they only run in the summertime. So
I think that's what he said. Yeah, the weather has to be better.
Bronco games. They'll run a Bronco game night and then summer. Like if you want to just catch it, it's summer. So
I just saw something that I think is really funny. As someone who really doesn't care about the Broncos.
Stop it.
Oh, Heath, that's a good one. Thank you for that. I needed a laugh. But I don't have any room to talk because, and I'm embarrassed now to admit this, but since about 1976 or 1977 up through, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, I liked the Raiders. So I have no room to talk when it comes to football teams.
Yeah.
I mean, really. So, but I wanted to mention that Denver trolley thing because I thought it sounded like kind of a cool, little operation that they have there. And I spoke with the guy about the types of videos that I make, and he said that they want to have me come back and run it special just for us to make a video about it.
Let's do it.
I thought it sounded like a great idea. So one of these future visits, not this upcoming one, because there's too much to do.
We're a little busy.
Yeah, but one of these upcoming visits, maybe next year sometime. I don't know. We'll have to do that. And I don't know if I told you this, Michelle, but I'm planning to go in June to Salt Lake City. And there's 3 layouts out in Salt Lake City area that I've been meaning to get back out there ever since the convention where we met in person the first time 4 years ago, to get back out there and film 3 of these really nice layouts that I saw when I was there. And I'm finally going to go back and do it. We had that little thing called the pandemic in between. So now Heath is trying to get all smart.
If you're going to wear train suspenders everywhere you go.
Yeah. I don't know. I should have some special TSG suspenders made.
Yeah.
But I kind of like suspenders. They're more comfortable than a belt to me.
I like t-shirts, so I own a lot of them because I can wear them to work.
Right.
If you guys could wear train t-shirts to work every day, you would own a lot of them too.
But I bet a lot of people would if they could. Yeah.
That's why I keep buying them because I'm like, I can wear it to work. I can wear it. And then I can support this place. Like, it's the thing I can buy to support where I'm visiting, and I can wear it to work. So yeah, that's my excuse for owning so many shirts.
Yeah. Cameron is asking about the layouts. So the layouts that I'm planning to record, one of them is kind of over in your neck of the woods, sort of. It's over in Corinne. I don't know if you've heard of Lee Nicholas, but he has a very well-known layout that I've never seen before. And so I think that's over close to where you live, Cameron. And then the other one's in close to Harriman. I don't remember the exact city or town, but remember, Michelle, when you were in Salt Lake City, you drove out to where Alvin lived for the evening thing that we did. Well, it's an SN3 Denver and Rio Grande Western layout that I saw when I was there. It's owned by a guy named Doug Jolly. He's a super cool guy. And so I asked him back then if we could do a video someday, and he sounded interested, and I've become much better friends with him. He's actually been on this channel now, I think at least once, for a TSG Live Crew Lounge show where we talked about narrow gauge. But this guy's been around. I mean, he worked on the old Rio Grande. So,
cool.
As an engineer back in the day, must have been kind of cool,
Yeah.
So Yeah. Anyway, so there's that, and he has a really cool crew lounge that's like a biker bar. You've probably heard me talk about this before. It is like a biker bar. I
Oh, I
mean,
think I've seen a picture of it.
yeah, he has a what do you call it? A bar and a jukebox and like bar stools, and it's all wood. It's really cool. So I'm looking forward just to seeing that again.
Cool.
What I really want to know is if he has beer on tap in the bar, because I might want to drink a beer while we're there. Because
You might hang out a little longer.
right, once you kind of get to know people like this, and you're going to do a video at their layout, it's almost more like just hanging out with your friends, you know. And,
So
I mean, right, it's work because we're making a video, but it's also fun, right? So
we're getting
anyway.
asked what the Q&A from the title is. So talking to John yesterday, we didn't really have a program for today. So I'm like, let's just ask people questions. But then I came up with the program. So you guys are going to have to endure a little bit of me presenting on the Rocky Mountaineer ride. And then we can do it last, or we can do Q&A first. Either way.
I think we're going to do the Q&A afterwards, because it kind of segues from the Rocky Mountaineer. So we'll do the Q&A thing in the second hour. And I'm trying really hard to follow our chat here. And it's very difficult for me because I can't talk and read at the same time. It's hard to do.
Lots of people on here tonight.
Yeah.
So should I just start about what I was trying to think of like things that I've done. And honestly, there were other things I wanted to do pictures of, but I decided to do this one. But I did ride with Jennifer and John, and my husband Keith actually went. And we rode the last ski train of the season on Amtrak to Winter Park. And that is such a fantastic ride. So maybe I'll put together a presentation in the middle of summer when we're all dying of heat and talk about the ski train.
Oh, that would be good.
When I would do that.
In the meantime, let's bring up the slides that you have for this, and we'll get started, and we'll do the Q&A after that. So
so let me give a little segue on this one too. You can bring up the slide if you want, but I'll start talking about this. So I wear a hat for my job at the museum, where I'm a part of Tour Colorado. And Tour Colorado is the organization that promotes group and package travel to Colorado. I've been on the board for, probably 8 years. I just stepped off of 6 years of being the president to being the vice president. Woohoo!
This is why you know all the cool stuff to do, isn't it?
Yeah. And so when I go to those tourism conventions that people see on Facebook, we actually have a booth for the state of Colorado that Tour Colorado is funded to do. And in that booth, tour operators, people who want to package travel to Colorado as in group tours, come to the booth and ask us questions. And this is the last train I had not ridden. Oh, except Cripple Creek. I realized I haven't ridden Cripple. Anyway, the Rocky Mountaineer, I didn't know much about it. And so I could never really answer questions. So I got invited to go on their test run. This is the run where they were like training the new staff. So this is a training run, I guess is what I should have called it. It's a training run. And so I went round trip on it, and I just thought I'd explain it because I really didn't understand this train. And I see Sparky thinks it's in Canada, but it's not. This is the Colorado version, run by the same company, of the Rocky Mountaineer. So let's start looking at slides. I think I have control, right?
You have control. Okay. And they are in Canada too, though, right? I mean,
they do. They started in Canada. They cover all those beautiful rides. They have 4 different rides around Canada that you can choose from. And they have gold dome cars there. They have the gold class dome cars. In Colorado, we have so many tunnels that are short that we have silver class, and we have Silverleaf and Silverleaf Plus are the 2 levels you can buy in Colorado. So this is the locomotive, and this is their emblem, Rocky Mountaineer. I really didn't know what to expect. So I show up in Denver, and this is my friend John Garner, and he's the head of, we would call him the conductor on any tourist line. But because this is third-party passenger rail on a Class 1 railroad, and he doesn't actually get into the locomotive, he's the head of guest experience or something like that. I'll have to ask him his title. But he's basically the head conductor, but he has a different title on this train. So this is what the cars look like on the inside. And my husband didn't get to go, so I was just traveling by myself. And I have to say, this is probably the most romantic train in America, but I went by myself and I had a blast. It was so fun. So regardless of how you travel on this, it's a blast. So we have these really comfortable seats, and you can see we have these partial dome windows for a fantastic view as we're cruising along. this is Zach, the other conductor, guest experience.
I met him.
Yeah. So did you meet him at the Rocky Mountain Train Show?
Yes, I met
He and
him.
John were there.
I met him, and I actually interviewed him on day one of our coverage of the Rocky Mountain Train Show, and it was one of the first interviews. I think it's in like the first hour or so that I talked to him.
Okay, so people can go and look that up. Great guys. I got to meet most of the staff and crew on the train on this trip because we spent 3 intense days together. So this guy right here in the background, I think this is the only picture I have of him. His name's Paul. He owns his own locomotive here in Denver.
Oh, cool.
To be restored. So, so they have the 2 classes of service. And let me go back to, so this is, the cars look the same. So this is a Silverleaf car. But when you buy Silverleaf Plus service, you don't spend the whole trip in this car. You also have this car, which is a beautiful custom made. These were old Canadian National cars, and this is the bar at one end, and then these were the chairs. And they have these little swivel tables and stuff, and your view out the window is beautiful. And so you have access to this car, and you also have access to this car. So you have 2 lounge cars. And by the way, both of the bars are open bars. You don't pay for anything when you're on the train. It's all included. And so it's amazing. So if you're ever looking at this train, there's Silverleaf and Silverleaf Plus. So this is the Silverleaf Plus. And you'll see I like this car. I tended to sit in this car more than any other car. Here's the meals. So on the way out, you get breakfast. First, you get this like scone while you're waiting for your breakfast. So you get like 2 breakfasts, and I am all about having second breakfast. So this was like the train made for me.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Lord of the Rings. What about second breakfast?
Exactly. I love having second breakfast. And so so then we have lunch, and then when you get into Glenwood just right before dinner time, and they take your bag to the hotel for you. It's waiting, and you already have your room key. It's given to you on the train. Oh, so the hotel room is part of the package, and you get your room key before you get off the train. Your bag appears at your hotel for you, and you just go out to dinner. So you go downtown Glenwood, and you just enjoy wherever you want to eat and the whole evening. And you have the 2 hot springs you can choose from, and you have the whole evening to do whatever you want. And then the next day we get back on the train and we have breakfast, and then we have an hors d'oeuvre that's kind of right before the lunch hour because we arrive at lunch. So you're never hungry on this train. Also, here's your open drink menu that they will bring to your seat, or you can go to one of the bars. And one thing I loved, I don't know if you probably can't read this on your screens. Everything is a Colorado or something. This is a Napa Valley one, but these are both Colorado wines. Mm-hmm. And here's a Colorado wine and a Colorado wine. And these are all Colorado distilled brew, like, I guess that's whiskey, bourbon, vodka, gin. All these things were made in Colorado.
Where's the beer?
Where's the beer? Oh, I cut it off. Probably it's down below.
Oh.
So it was just neat. And this particular train that we were on had many of the people that own the vineyards. Here's my collage of food. So
did you eat all that?
Yeah, and I didn't even put one of the other meals on, or the beginning rolls that you get before breakfast. This is breakfast.
15 pounds on that trip.
And there's a pre-breakfast every day. And this is lunch. This is one of the lunches. This is the salad before lunch. This is one of the desserts, and there were other desserts, and I had like 50 pictures of different drinks. No, I'm kidding. I had like 10. I didn't drink that many drinks. So that's my food collage.
Wait, go back. What's that fancy drink? What's that one on the bottom left?
This one's a Bloody Mary.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I don't have my favorite drink on here, but I'll show you. I have another picture of it later. So I found out that I have a favorite drink. So
is the orange juice actually orange juice, or is that a screwdriver?
It's a screwdriver, and they do this toast.
Breakfast?
Yeah, for serious. And so when you first get on the train, and it's a video. I didn't do any video because it's hard to do video and PowerPoint stuff here. But when you first get on the train, you do a screwdriver toast before you leave Denver.
Oh, okay.
So this is 5-star luxury. Think of it as like the all-inclusive cruise line where you're in the upper haven of Norwegian cruise lines.
I'm looking at these pictures and I'm imagining a time in days past when trains were really luxury travel. And this kind of goes to what Matthew is saying here about it being expensive. But I can tell just from looking at this
Right.
menu that this is like fancy food.
It
So
is. And I'm going to break down costs for Matthew here at the end, and
okay.
I'll give you why this is not a bad deal.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, you're paying a premium for the experience, but not as much as you think. so,
Okay. There's
so
another
we start
part of
out in Denver. So we take off out of Denver, and most of my stuff is video. So you're getting a few pictures of the way up to, oh yeah, see 22,000, that's Canada. Yeah. So if you want to
that's
really
about,
pay money, go to Canada. This one in Colorado is about 1,500 to 2,000, depending on the package you choose. So much less.
yeah.
So here we are going up Boulder Creek, I think is where we're at this point. So you can see that suddenly we're in the snow.
Mm-hmm.
The spring is fun because you have like summertime when you leave, or spring, and then there's still snow up in the Rockies. And so what you're getting is this beautiful Moffett line ride. And so you can see that all the different cars here. I wonder if I have one of the whole train going by. Here's one of just the beautiful valleys that open up as you're riding along. Just some of the scenery on this trip is phenomenal.
Yeah, the Rocky Mountains are really dramatic.
Oh, my little thing in the video, this is in focus, but this is one of the clips from the video, and my drink isn't in focus, but this is such a good drink.
What is that?
It is vodka and San Pellegrino.
Is that a grapefruit sitting on the edge?
It's a blood orange.
Oh, okay.
Or something like that. It was good. And so, but this is just one of the views as you're going. We go through so many canyons that you feel like you visited a different country every hour because the landscape changes so much.
Mm-hmm.
And it's true, Sparky, you are treated like royalty. We had 3 car attendants for the 40 people in our car.
Jeez.
So here's a look at like the red rocks that you see. It's like we go from what you think of the Rockies in the snow. You go through Moffett Tunnel, you go through the ski area, and I didn't really get a good picture of that. But then you hit this desert. And so we have all these different landscapes. And here's entering into Glenwood Canyon, which is a different kind of canyon. Or wait, no, I'm sorry. This is Byers Canyon.
Look at this, the lines in the rock. What do they call that?
The geology of every canyon is 100% different than every other canyon. Like they are so completely different. And all these canyons, there's only one of them that actually has a road in it. The rest, only the train sees it.
Uh-huh.
So this is Glenwood. This is the only one with the road. This is I-70. And so it's such an amazing ride. Here's the Glenwood Depot when you arrive into Glenwood.
Cool.
Some of the train stays at this hotel right back here called the Hotel Denver that has this brewery in it. And then all the downtown is like right here behind the depot. I didn't get a good picture of it, but I went to Doc Holliday's bar, which Doc Holliday actually resided and died in this town. He came here at the end of his gunslinging career, and they actually have his the bar he liked to go to. It still looks the same.
I thought in Tombstone he ended up in San Francisco or something.
Maybe he died out there. I don't know. He was here for a long time. He lived in Glenwood.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying Tombstone was necessarily historically accurate.
Yeah. Across the street from the depot, this is the original Hot Springs pool, and there's this huge pools behind it. And then up on the hillside, I didn't get a faraway picture, is where I ended up staying. And they'll shuttle you, but I enjoyed the walk because the walk went over a bridge. I stayed at the Hotel Colorado. Huh. This is the historic hotel that Teddy Roosevelt stayed in multiple times when he'd go on hunting. And one time he went hunting and he didn't find the bear he was hunting. And when he came back, the hotel staff felt so sorry for him. They sewed him up a little bear. And then they asked him if they could make more and call it a teddy bear. After Teddy Roosevelt. So the teddy bear was invented at the Hotel Colorado. And the room I've circled, that little balcony, that was my room.
Did you come out and give a speech?
No, but I felt like I had these 2 doors and I opened the door. You open the right door and then you go out and it's like there's 2 chairs and this beautiful balcony. And it's just a beautiful hotel, like the lobby.
Look at this.
It's gorgeous. The hotel is just gorgeous. Well, I have to tell you that, most people probably don't know that I'm known for accidentally getting haunted rooms. And I totally got a haunted room.
Oh, come on.
So I came back the second day because I round trip. So I stayed in the same room. They let me leave my stuff in there. And when I came back that night, the door that doesn't open was open, but not the door with the handle.
That means room service had been in.
No one came in my room. My bed wasn't made. Nothing was made. And my towels were on the floor. in my
Maybe
bathroom.
someone was sneaking around, like checking out what you had.
Either they had a massive windstorm that like blew the door open and blew the towels down, or somebody was in there. It didn't bother me. Whatever. I just laughed and said, I guess we're both in here tonight. Let's have a good night.
If you live well, you don't have to worry about those spirits, you know.
So I get up the next morning and I walk across this bridge, and you cross over the pools, the interstate, the river, and the train on this bridge. And so it's really a cool bridge. And that's looking down at the train. The train has this beautiful swoops between their cars. And then right here, I don't know if everybody can see my mouse, but these are open vestibules.
When we're sharing the screen like this, it doesn't show your cursor.
It doesn't? No. Okay. Well, in between each car, the vestibules are open, except during the Moffat Tunnel. And that's one of the things I love the most about this trip. And I don't think I included one of the 1,000 pictures I took of me hanging out the vestibule.
So you can go out there when it's going through the tunnel?
Only you can go through any tunnel except Moffat Tunnel because it's just too long and too much exhaust. But I stood with my head out of the train for 28 tunnels coming back.
Oh, wow.
My hair was a complete ball of tangles, but it was fabulous. So if for no other reason, for paying the price for the Rocky Mountaineer, it's going through all those canyons and all those tunnels with the outdoor experience. Because there's no other train you can do that on. This is Mike. He was our car host and historian.
Cool.
Okay, so we have this question about a private passenger train that runs on Class 1. This is the first train to be called third-party passenger rail on a Class 1 track. So they are a customer of Union Pacific, just like any other vendor, but they don't haul freight, they haul people. And so it is treated like that. And I think that's why they're hardly ever late, because it's a revenue for Union Pacific to have this train running.
Sure.
And so you should understand that.
They're having to rent the tracks, right? So
right. So another reason that your ticket is higher is because you're paying for that. So so this is Mike. When you get on the train, every time they stop, they pop out the Colorado flag and the American flag and the red carpet. Look at this red carpet. Down below. And so you always get on through a red carpet into this beautiful train.
Yeah, this really is a throwback, isn't it? I mean, this is the kind of stuff that passenger trains used to be like when the Class 1s ran them.
Exactly. And so like our seat, the little tray table comes down, but they put a linen on it before every meal. You have linens and you have your real silverware, real dishes, real glasses. Everything is not plastic. So, okay, so then we took off towards Grand Junction, and I'd honestly never gone past Glenwood except for my one trip last year, but we were so late on Amtrak that all this was dark for me. So I had never seen in between Glenwood and Grand Junction and down to Moab. And so I just love the look of these tank cars and these dry hills. These are the Great Mesas. So the Colorado National Monument is here. The Grand Mesa is here. So think of these big dry mesas in this region. Also the region of vineyards. So we start going through all these vineyards. It's Colorado wine country. Very, very beautiful in the morning. And the people who own this vineyard got on the train with us because they buy this wine from this vineyard that the train goes by.
Oh, how cool.
I thought that was really cool. And then when you get into Grand Junction, they have a historic depot. And I didn't get a great shot of it, but they have this old Rio Grande right in the glass. If you look up at the very top little peak window, it has the original Rio Grande stained glass in it. And then it's a Union Pacific sign above that. But this is the historic depot.
It would have been cool
to have historic cars. Oh, I'm sorry, what?
It would have been cool to have a close-up of that glass. I don't suppose you took one closer, did you?
No, because we were moving.
Oh, I didn't realize the train's actually moving on this. Okay.
Well, we were coming in, and I couldn't get on the vestibule because we were picking up passengers, and they already had people there and stuff. So I had to take the shot through the window. But next time I go to Grand Junction, I will go take close-ups of this depot because I had no idea. I gotta get some awesome perks. Yeah, I've done a lot of years of work for this perk. And I have to say I was blessed to go on this, and I did not pay for this trip. They did bring me along with their vendors on their training ride, but they brought me for my Tour Colorado hat because I needed to know how this train runs because I promote for them when I'm out.
I want to mention that, Michelle, because I know that especially the viewers of this channel and probably the viewers of every similar channel know you as the Colorado Model Railroad Museum person who actually likes trains and so on, but they don't know how involved you are in other things like the
Right.
tourism industry. And I think that's an aspect of your existence, you know, out
The
there
people
and
don't
doing.
know, like twice a year, I spend a week representing the entire state of Colorado, not just the Colorado Model Railroad Museum. My hat gets a lot bigger. And I have to represent all the railroads of the state and all the attractions of the state. And
Mhm.
so when I go and do these, when I go and ride a train, it's a learning experience for me so I can be better at my job.
Right.
I don't think people understand that at all.
Yeah. I
They just
mean, people probably, yeah, they probably think you're just out having fun, which you are having fun.
I am
Don't
having
get me,
fun.
yeah, don't get me wrong. And I mean, it's
Yes,
kind of like what I do, right? I'm having fun all the time and meet all kinds of really great people, but it's still work.
it is
You are,
still work.
and you're still tired at the end of the day from working. It's just that you also have this benefit of meeting nice people and seeing cool stuff that you get to share with the world. So I get it.
To answer Heath's question there, the company is owned in Canada, but they have a complete staff of Americans
Mhm.
for this train. And these people live here all year and work this train. It runs from May to October, end of October, maybe early November if the season's late. And then in the off season, they're still employed, most of them. And so the train stays in Colorado. It doesn't go back to Canada. It's here. It stays. It's part of our Colorado trains now. It's another tourist railroad.
Mhm.
And so it's just new. So people are learning about it. Or I'll change slides. We're probably tired of looking at that one. Let's look at this one. So after you leave Grand Junction, you go through Ruby Canyon, and wow, is it pretty. It's just a whole different Southwest kind of look, and all these little rocks that stick up everywhere. I think this next one, these are called the Three Sisters, these three rocks on the end, and I just thought they were fabulous. And the train kind of loops around these. So the video of this is way better than the photo. But just a really pretty ride. I've got my head out the window, of course, taking these pictures.
Mhm.
And then as soon as you get to Ruby Canyon, you pop out into this plain and you see this amazing mountain. And this is the La Salle, LA, and the capital SAL range. And this, I didn't realize this, but this is the range that sits right next to Moab. And I never thought of Moab, Utah having snowy mountains. But honestly, they're right next to each other. And I don't know if you can see in this photo all the buttes that are kind of a little hazy in front of it. Each of those is a layer of buttes.
Mhm.
And it was just such a cool thing. And there's actually a little stream running right here that we were crossing at the time. Okay,
Oh,
so this is an interesting story. And they tell this story on the train. And by the way, everywhere you go, they have this historian in your car telling you what you're seeing, the history of the line, David Moffat's story. Like you learn everything
can I make a guess?
about the line.
Can
Do you
I
want to
make
know
a
what
guess? I'm gonna guess those are dirty dirt containers.
Yep.
Oh, so they are.
So,
Okay.
so I didn't know this either. This was all new to me. So Moab, Utah is one of the largest uranium mining areas.
Oh.
And back in the 50s, uranium was discovered there and they opened a huge mine along the river. And the man who kind of founded the town of Moab had this mine and didn't think anything of it and dumped all his mine tailings right there by the river.
Oh God.
All of the California people that get the Colorado River water have been having contaminated water since the 1950s because of the tailings are radioactive next to the river. So
Oh.
there's this huge project going on and there's a train every day. So this picture that I'm taking right here is the dump site. And it is, if you ever look on a map at where Crescent Junction is on the Amtrak line between Grand Junction and Salt Lake City, this is in Utah, but it is north of the tracks. There's this huge empty land, and they're burying all of this there.
Mhm.
So every day, a train with these boxes goes to Moab and drops the empty cars, brings the full cars back, and then these get lifted off with a big crane, put on a truck, and driven down into the hole where they're being dumped,
Oh.
away from the river and people.
And
So
you can see the placards show that it's
yeah,
dangerous material.
yeah. So I thought it was just being the rail fan, though. I'm like, this would be fun to model.
Yeah,
Right?
they're different, aren't they? They're
They're
really
really
strange
different.
cars.
And I have a video, not a photo, of the big crane thing. It's like they just drive over with this big crane hook and just pick the boxes up and move them over. So it was just an interesting thing along the way.
Mhm.
And then we get into the desert, right? Look at this. Talk about different scenery all along and all of it beautiful in its own way.
Yep.
And so now we're south towards Moab, and this is actually the Colorado River heading into Moab. And just south of this is where all that contaminated dirt is that they have to get out of there.
It's really such a beautiful place for such horrible contamination.
Right. And so here's another picture. There's actually a road. If you look at the layers at the bottom of where it's lightest colored, the lower level, there's actually a road there. And this is the road into Arches National Park. This is what it looks like, the entrance to the national park. And I've never been in there, but I did get to see this. So what they did is when we got into Moab, the train, it was going to turn and go back the same day. And they usually do. They drop their passengers. They usually arrive between 12 and 1, drop their passengers, get the new passengers going the other direction, and they take off again and get back into Glenwood that night. But you get dinner on the train that night instead of dinner in Glenwood. But what they did is we were kind of late, so we only had a half an hour. So they put us in vans and they drove us around and showed us their hotels because obviously I'm there to learn, right? Right. And so we went and saw, this is their hotel. So if you book the Hoodoo with them, this is the hotel you stay in.
It looks like some oasis out in the middle of the desert.
This is where all the movie stars stay.
Oh.
And I just put one picture on here because the pool's fabulous, but the whole place is just gorgeous. This is their highest end hotel. They also have a lower Hyatt, and then they have a couple of other hotels that you can go to within their packages. But this is where you actually go if you're going to ride the train back. You actually go to this hotel to get on the buses to the train. Cool. So they showed us their offices and how it all works. And so it was good for me to understand how it works. It was really cool.
I have a question, or a comment, I should say. Do you remember, there's a guy at the South Bay Historical Railroad Society named Robin. Do you remember him?
I think so, yes.
He went on a trip through, I think he went to Yellowstone and then hit a bunch of these parks in Utah. And he showed me pictures. I want to say it was Arches, but it might have been something else, that there are places you can go up to and it looks like the Grand Canyon. And I'm not exaggerating at all. It looks like the Grand Canyon.
That's probably Bryce Canyon, and it's fabulous. And it's just south of this. It
was so spectacular and dramatic. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I'm like, that's in Utah. I mean, I know Utah has neat places, but I didn't know that they have that kind of dramatic canyon place. So that was so cool. And this is reminding me of the pictures that he shared with me once.
Oh yeah. And Utah's gorgeous. I mean, this national park, Arches, is one of the most visited in the country, one of the most visited national parks. So one of the things that you would want to do if you go here, because there's a lottery system to get in for the general public, is go with a tour company because they're guaranteed admission every day.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So if you take this train, you get discounts on these tour packages to take you through the parks. One, you don't have to drive. You can take pictures. And two, you're not crowding up the national park with a whole bunch of individual cars, right? So you're going together in groups, and it's just kind of the way I think our national parks are going because they're over visited. And so to get a lottery to get into this park is very, very rare. So meet and greet on the Rocky. Hey, I'm for that, but I got to save up for like 3 years because it is expensive, but it is worth it.
Totally I can't afford to do that one. We'll have to do a GoFundMe to send me to that.
I will go again and I will buy a ticket, but it might be a couple of years. So then we're heading back, and I've just got some random pictures at this point. So this is Glenwood Canyon going back the next day. So we stayed the night, get on the train again the next morning, and we have breakfast. So imagine being one of the early photographers. Oh, could you imagine? Or even exploring the country. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's like the Royal Gorge. I always laugh. I always picture the person riding a horse and then just like right on the edge, like, oh my God, the lamb just fell away.
Right? And hope that it doesn't happen like in the Bugs Bunny cartoon where the horse stops and they go. Or actually, wasn't that the dragon that Yosemite Sam was riding in one of those episodes?
I have no idea, but yeah, one of those. So this is us going back into Glenwood. Glenwood Canyon is just beautiful. Now, here's the deal. There are parts of Glenwood Canyon where the road is on the other side of the hill, and we see different scenery than they do. And this is one of those spots where we've got the river and the canyons and the road is way far away. And then here's one where the road is next to us, but we go through this tunnel and now we're somewhere else. Right? And it happens, you kind of come together, you go apart, and then we take off and go north, and I-70 goes south, and we go up through Gross Canyon and Byers Canyon and all the way back to Winter Park. And so it's just time-wise, it takes 6 hours if you don't stop. If you're not stopped waiting on any passing trains or anything to go from Glenwood to Denver. And it takes 5 hours to get to Moab. 4 to 5, I'd say 4.5 to 5 hours to get to Moab. So you get beautiful scenery and time on the train. Oh, and here's the eagle's nest we passed. This is Eddie. You can't really tell in this picture, but Eddie is in the nest. The dad's setting and the mom's out hunting. And these are bald eagles, and they're everywhere. But this one, they always nest right there. So it's Edith and Eddie.
Oh, they actually gave them names.
I gave them names. Here's just another view of a beautiful valley along the way. I didn't put any pictures in here, but there's a phenomenon that happens in Colorado when you're on a train. And I call it the Amtrak moon. The Rocky Mountaineer says it's the way Coloradans wave. But just as you go past this river and you go into this valley, it's some of the best fishing in Colorado. And there's a ton of people out in fishing boats and along the shore, and they all moon the train. So there's this like hour-long section of just like, whoa.
Yeah, just set up your camera and make it the moon train.
Yeah. So this is a fun park. This is Gore Canyon. And I've taken this shot coming back because it's easier to see when you're headed east. But there's 2 tunnels. Can you see the 2 tunnels?
Yeah.
And so this is the one place you can get the shot of the 2 tunnels. And I've got the whole train pretty much in front of me here because I went to a vestibule in the back. So all the vestibules are open and you can go to any of them. So
that's kind of reminiscent of the honeymoon tunnels in Feather River Canyon. You remember that?
Yeah. Yeah. And so this is just one of my favorite places. And I have waited for 13 years to stick my head out a window in Gore Canyon. I mean, seriously, it's like a dream to be able to do this. So
yeah, that's cool.
And here's looking back after we went through the tunnel. So it's just, and this is a winter trip. So the water is not the gorgeous blue of summer. Like right now it's all snow runoff and muddy. And then in the summer, it's really prettier. This is just winter. So, but it's still pretty, even if the water's kind of brown and everything's not as green. Oh, and by the way, you can buy the locomotive on the train.
Huh.
But it's numbered for the Canadian one. I think it's number 2017 or 8017, and I rode behind 8020 and 8021. So I had to get 2.
You could renumber it, right? I mean,
I'm going to renumber them.
Yeah.
So I bought my locomotives. So I got them on the train.
I'm surprised that they didn't have them unnumbered with decals so you could put your own on. Like someone else I know did that.
Well, and Rapido makes the cars. They make the dome cars. So I can get some of the cars, but they're the Canadian dome cars. So I need the Silverleaf cars. So anyway, this is my last slide. So when I got back to Denver, going to my parking garage, I had to go up and over one of the RTD bridges, and they were backing the train under and back up into the 36th Street yard. And if anybody came out and saw the big boy, this is right where it was parked for that event. So
it looks like they're using GP40s or some kind of maybe a -2 or something. Like
GP40-2s.
Okay.
And they come out of Canada.
Okay. So it's actually a very similar consist compared to the one we rode at the Royal Gorge. I mean, except they're using 2 locomotives here.
Yeah, they have to. And they can pull up to 11 cars. We had 10 cars on the train that day. And that's what they can pull. And they're a nice short train for the Moffat line. So they fit in all the sidings. So that's cool.
No, that's cool.
And we passed Amtrak 6 and Amtrak 5 each day. Right. So that was kind of fun. And I have this cool video of Amtrak coming. We're on the siding waiting and they went by and it was cool.
Oh, so they actually passed you one time?
Yeah. I get asked a lot, what's the difference between riding Amtrak and riding the Rocky Mountaineer? And honestly, you see the same scenery. It's just the experience that you want. And Amtrak is, if you have kids, oh my gosh, it's such a fun trip. Right. And also I just like to take Amtrak because it's fun in its own way. It's different. This Rocky Mountaineer is like, it's like the anniversary trip for you, or like your once in a lifetime dream ride. It's luxury. It's truly that cruise across the Rockies, Amtrak is the super accessible and I can ride it anytime. And so I love them both. I'm not going to pick a favorite, honestly.
Oh, that's too bad because that's one of the questions I'm going to be asking later.
Oh, okay. Well, let me come back to that later. It depends on the experience I want, really. And now I can explain that to people because I never understood it before.
Yeah.
Right? Although you cannot go to Moab on Amtrak. That is a turn to the south on specific line that's
Oh.
owned by Union Pacific that I had never seen before. So you're not going to get that canyon land without taking Rocky Mountaineer.
Oh, that's interesting, huh?
Yep.
So I have a question, and obviously do they have a Y at the end of the line? Like, how do they get the
In
train
Moab,
turned? Huh?
so they actually run the locomotives around the train.
So the
They have
head.
a siding. The locomotives start on the other end of the train going west, and then they're on this end of the train going east. They just run the locomotives around and hook up again. So
Well,
you're
hold on a second. Time out. Time out. That's a power car, isn't it?
and when we went west, the power car was the last car in the consist. And when
Oh,
we went east, it was the first car in the consist.
okay. So they
And
do
then
just
right
run you
behind
in.
the power car is a crew car.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then at the other end of the train right now is the other crew car. There's two crew cars, one at each end, and then the power car beyond it. And
For,
the company that services the power car was also on this training run.
oh,
So
cool.
all of the people that they work with, they had on this train.
Right.
So
Wow.
it was fun. It was cool. And so the two cars in the middle were the two lounge cars,
Mm-hmm.
and then the passenger car on each side. So let me start here. There's 5 Silverleaf cars, and of those 5, 2 are Silverleaf Plus. And so there's 3 coach regular, like you stay in your car, and 2 that you get the 2, and the 2 lounges are between the 2 that get the lounges. So you have all this space. Like think of 4 cars of space to walk through, really.
Yeah. So the lounge cars kind of separate the regular coach from the like
Yeah. From the other
sleepers or
3
yeah.
cars, yeah.
Huh. That's interesting. Yeah. Huh.
So
Wow.
it was super fun. So thanks for going along with me on this ride. I
Yeah. No.
learned a lot.
Thanks for sharing. That was really cool. I'll make it go away now. There we
Somebody's asking why no dumb cars. You can thank Moffat Tunnel for the reason the dumb cars don't fit. And I think there's a couple other tunnels that are just too short for those dumb cars. I think they needed like 4 inches off of them.
Oh no,
Literally, like
that's all.
that little, like this much. And they just can't do it.
So
And so it's either build all new cars or just run the silver service.
I'm not really familiar. Is the Moffat line not? They don't have any stack trains that go through there.
No,
I didn't know that. Or if they did, it would be all single stack, right?
it'd be single stacks. You never see stacks. You just see
Huh.
you see a lot of coal and a lot of mixed trains. There's
Yeah.
one thing I should talk about. The difference between the Canadian version and the American version is those gold class dome cars. You stay in that car. So
Mm.
you stay upstairs in your seats and look out. And when you're ready to eat, you go downstairs and your tables are downstairs in the same car and you don't leave that car. So they wanted a high-end service like that on the Colorado version. So they created the Silverleaf Plus. You can only get that on the Colorado train. And they custom built those 2 lounge cars. So basically that's the lower level of your dome car because the silver is a short dome.
Mm-hmm.
And so it still has the same dome roof. It just doesn't have dining under it. The dining's in the next car. So, but they made them lounge cars and you actually eat. And so does that make sense?
Sounds like a reasonable compromise to me.
Yeah. In fact, I think I like it better.
Mm-hmm.
I've done the Alaska Railroad Gold Class Dome where you had the dinner downstairs and all of that. And it was fun, but I really enjoyed having cars to walk through.
Sure. That's interesting. I mean, for some reason, I'm thinking that the bi-level coaches and such that Amtrak uses, I guess they're not as tall as double stack trains because I know the Zephyr runs through Moffat Tunnel every day, both directions.
Right. But for some reason, the Rocky Mountaineers dome cars are just a little bit taller.
Well, what did you say? 4 inches too tall? Wow.
Yeah, they're like 4 inches too tall.
Yeah. So I guess that's why the Z trains go up that line through Cheyenne or to Cheyenne, right? Because they have to get out to that main. I guess.
Oh yeah, all the double stacks go through Greeley up to Cheyenne and either go to
Right.
Green River or North Platte.
Yeah. What is that? I guess they would consider that the original transcontinental railroad, isn't it? Up there.
The Cheyenne run is, yeah.
Yeah.
Across Cheyenne, that's the Transcon. And then
Right.
the Moffat line was the Rio Grande's answer to that.
Okay.
And you actually have that dot zero cutoff where they connected the Colorado Midland line when Rio Grande got that up to the Rio Grande already built out of Utah. So they made this little cut across called the dot zero cutoff, and we actually go on that when you take Amtrak or Rocky Mountaineer. So it's kind of neat, and you learn all this history, and they show you where the Y's are, and like that right there is Tennessee Pass, and that goes down into the Royal Gorge, right?
Oh, interesting. And are they still connected or no?
They are connected, but no railroad runs on Tennessee Pass right now. But they're looking at opening it again.
Oh,
but then all the people who live there are like, we can't have trains.
Of course, right?
And I'm like, they already own the land, and there's a track there, and there used to be trains, but so they're having those issues.
and if it's not abandoned, technically, they sure can run trains if they want to.
They have every legal right to put a train on it today, and no one can say anything, but they're trying to figure it out.
No one can say anything, but they do anyway.
But they do anyway.
Yeah.
And they're kind of loud and the squeaky wheel. So
those are the NIMBYs, right? Not in my backyard. We don't like
exactly.
Yeah, I moved into a house with the train tracks behind my fence, behind my backyard, but I complain about the noise. I love those people.
Because there could be the possibility of taking a train from Salt Lake City, coming down, going over Tennessee Pass, down the Royal Gorge, and then on down across Raton Pass, and now you're down in New Mexico, right? We could have trains and imagine passenger rail on all that. Wouldn't that be cool?
Wouldn't that be nice scenery to see without having to drive?
Oh,
yeah.
Exactly. The future could be bright for rail travel.
Yeah, well, that takes money and effort and willpower and everything else.
And probably longer than our lifetimes, but
yeah, who knows? All right. Should we switch to the Q&A stuff?
Yeah, we want to hear from people what they think.
Yeah, we want to hear from people what they think. So we're not going to do calling in. We kind of learned our lesson about that. Well, I did a while back. So we're going to do questions that you can answer in the chat on the side of the screen. And the first question is, what is your favorite tourist railroad? And I'll be interested to see what people come up with on that. So put your answers in the chat there. And while we're reading those or trying to read those, I do want to mention something about the YouTube meet and greet, which is coming up in 4 weeks, I guess. So if you're not familiar with what that is, our friend Dave Sparky 107 for the past several years has done something every year called the YouTube meet and greet, where he goes on vacation and then he tells people, his viewers, where he's going and what he's doing, and then a bunch of people show up and hang out. And Dave came to us about a year ago, I think, and said, "Hey, we should do one out in Denver area." So foolishly, we said, "Yeah, we should do that." Right?
It just turns out to be one of the busiest years ever for conventions in Denver.
Yeah. I say foolishly because poor Michelle has been going crazy trying to plan everything. And thank you for all the work that you've been doing, Michelle.
Okay. It's just been hard because I have all these conventions this year. I'm like, of all the years, but it's all good. It's going to be fun.
Yep. All our top secret producer's been also helping with planning stuff and trying to organize stuff. So big thanks to her. She's not here today that I can see.
She's been a huge help in running the whole Facebook.
Yeah.
And all that. You guys can thank her for that.
Yeah, there's the Facebook group, which I posted earlier. I don't think it's still on my... No, I have a YouTube page now. I'm going to find the Facebook group one more time and post that to our chat here, because in case you're interested in going or checking out what we're doing, it's in... Or
if you're in the area and you want to come to part of it or something, you can...
Yeah, I just posted it to the live chat on the right side of the screen. Oh, Dave Hammer did too. Thanks, Dave. And anyway, so we're going to be doing a bunch of stuff on Friday.
I'm gonna write these down.
We're going to be doing a bunch of stuff on Saturday, and then we're going to be doing some stuff on Sunday. And as I mentioned much earlier in this program, we're going to be doing, well, whoever's left over is going to be able to do stuff on Monday if they want to. And it's going to be a fun time. And the stuff that we're doing is all listed out on that Facebook page. Now I want to go here and see what people are talking about.
And I'm starting to write some of them down. I've never heard of the Boone.
Yeah, what's the Boone Scenic? I've never heard of that one either. I bet you can find it if you search for it online. Actually, I think I have heard of it, but I just don't remember what I heard about it. Well,
I'm going to put it down as I've never heard of it. So look it up.
It looks like Durango
and Silverton gets a
right?
few
That's
votes.
totally understandable. I rode that last year. No, 2 years ago. Rode the Durango and Silverton and did the Cascade Canyon trip. I think that's what they call it. And let's see. That's not a tourist.
Amtrak across the Northeast Corridor.
Is
I
that a
took
tourist?
Amtrak from Boston to Philadelphia, and it was fantastic. And I was like, "Oh my God, I've been to Rhode Island now," and there it was. Now we're out. Like we were there, now we're gone.
Yeah.
It seemed like Rhode Island was like 10 minutes, but it was super fun.
I've never been to the Northeast Corridor. I've seen some great videos though. Favorite tourist railroad is Georgetown Loop, though Coomers and Toltec and Durango and Silverton may top that. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Yeah, Georgetown Loop is good. I went to that back in the 1990s. Don't really remember a lot except that big bridge.
Yeah, so it's got this huge bridge. It's got a cool history. It is the one closest to Denver, so we chose it for the meet and greet because we can get to it in time.
We're going to go
their flights.
Right, we're going to go to Georgetown Loop on Sunday for those that are going to the meet and greet.
Yeah, and it is fun. I mean, it's a little outdoor railroad, and it's nice, and you're in the mountains, and so Wilmington and Western.
Have you heard of that one?
I've heard of it, but I don't know where it is.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that one.
You're gonna have to answer us and tell us. I'm guessing it's near Yosemite Valley.
Oh, I doubt it. I would know. Okay. I think I'd know if it was in California. No. Yosemite Valley Garden Railroad, I think, is one of our train crew members, Dave, another David, right? Yeah, that was making a YV Garden Railroad. I don't know how far he's gotten along with that, but I'd like to see pictures if you have them, Dave.
So, Wilmington and Western, I think, was actually like a regular railroad before a tourist line, because there's those Wilmington and Western cars that have the W's that overlap like that. I'm assuming look at this, and the W's overlap on the 2 or 3 bay hoppers. I'm not sure which one they are, but I see them go through and they have these brown W's on them, and I think they're Wilmington and Western. Anybody have the answer to that question?
Oh, it's in Delaware.
It's in Delaware?
Yeah,
oh my God, it must be something different.
Western, I just found the website. Hold on.
So what are my hoppers that I see with the 2 W's?
Yeah,
find out that. I sure do like them.
This is cool. Check this out. They have the Wilmington and Western has a website, and the first thing you see when you open it up is brews on board. Enjoy a variety of local brews.
Yeah, so it's a beer train. That's cool.
It's a beer train. Yeah. I didn't know about this one, but
I didn't either. It's in Delaware?
Yeah.
There's so many tourist lines up in the Northeast Corridor. Yeah. Really, I had no idea until I went to Amherst.
It looks like they have a steam train ride. That's pretty cool. Huh.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, if you have a chance to look at the website when you have a minute.
Wait, here's some other ones. Adirondack Railroad.
Yeah.
And then the Arcade in Attica in Western New York. Thank you for the location, by the way.
Yeah, that helps because I'm looking and going, where's that?
I was guessing Adirondack was New England. That's cool. See, look how many different railroads you've never heard of. It's amazing.
Yeah, some other people are saying Coomers and Toltec. I'm reading more of these.
Yeah, now, Arcade. I'm writing these down because I'm
how about this? North Shore Scenic, right?
North Shore Scenic. I've heard of this one, but I've never.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody modeled it, and that's why I've heard of it.
Oh,
you know what? I was just up in that region. That might be why I've heard of
it. Well, we need to say a special hello to Rod. Hi, Rod.
Oh, hey.
Thanks for joining us. It's like early in the morning for him. Or wait a minute. Isn't Australia like 18 hours ahead of us or something?
Yeah, it's like the opposite. So it's like really early in the morning for him.
He's awake sometime tomorrow.
Yeah, he's already in tomorrow. We have a question here about what's the deadline to sign up for the event. You can come to the event, but once tickets are sold out on things, So there's still a lot of tickets left on the Georgetown Loop. I have no idea how many are left at the Depot Museum in Cheyenne. It's another ticketed thing. The Forney Museum is fine. The Colorado Mountain Railroad Museum is fine. Like, most of the museum things, but if it's an actual ride or something, that's the only constraint, I guess. SkyTrain. I met the owners of this. They come to those tourism conventions.
Do they really?
Usually comes and has people there. Mm-hmm.
Do you remember their names?
I remember what they look like, and I'm not going to remember their names.
Oh.
But they've been coming for years, the same people. And they're really, really nice.
Yeah. Well, thinking about the meet and greet and this idea of questions about deadlines, there's no deadline per se, but I've been saying all along that if you're going to go to sign up on the Google Doc page that we have set up in that Facebook group, because if we don't know how many people are showing up and suddenly, 100 people show up, we're going to overrun places, and that's not cool. Like,
right. Yeah. So we have to split out some things.
Yeah. They need to have some heads up if there's going to be a lot of people. So Rusty likes to San Diego and Arizona.
Now, I've never heard of that.
Yeah. Is that the one, Rusty, where they just recently put the coaster F40 down there that they took the engine out of? That's headquartered out in Campo. I almost went to that.
Was this was this one of those railroads that was dreamed up early on? And I'm just going to build Arizona, so I'm going to call it the San Diego and Arizona, like we have the Denver and Salt Lake, or the.
Yeah, if it's what I remember, because I went down there once and we visited. Well, we were going to Campo to see, to visit their headquarters, if you will. And one of the roads had a sign on it that said closed except for local traffic or something like that. And the person that was driving was, I don't know what their problem was like, oh, I'm not going past that sign. It's like, dude, it's right there. We can see it. We can see the place. Just drive like a mile and we'll be there. Like, no, I'm not doing that. It's like, oh God. All right. Well, we drove all the way out here for nothing then. But I think the line actually did go to Arizona, but it's been right. There's some huge trestle out there that people will go and they'll take speeders or, illegal speeders with the,
illegal one?
They go out with these little, lightweight speeders. They're not speeders like what you have. They're speeders like a go-kart, but with train wheels on it.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
And they'll go trespass out there to that trestle. It's supposed to be a really dramatic trestle. And I've seen it. It's like this big wooden thing. You can see it from the highway if you know where to look. And so I believe that's the line that the person was talking about.
So in chat, they've been talking about the Boone Scenic.
Yeah, I've seen that a few times.
And I see that the Kate Shelley Bridge is right after Boone. Interesting. Okay. And then also down here, it says the Chinese steam runs on it. I was wondering where those things run. They were working on them in Silvis. Remember they took the 2 Chinese steam locomotives to.
Yeah, they were the red ones, weren't they?
Yeah. So I didn't know they came from there. That's interesting.
Yeah, aren't they like 210Os or something like that? Some big thing.
Yeah, they're really different looking too.
Yeah.
Chattanooga, Tennessee Valley Railroad.
I've seen a couple comments about Heber Valley.
Oh, yeah. And I'm so close and I've never ridden that one.
Yeah, I've seen that one. We actually rail fanned it.
I need to go do it. And Ely. I see Ely on here. I haven't been there either. Of course, that's like a 2-day drive still for me, but I'm going to do it.
That's a place you should definitely go sometime. If you go out to Ely, it's very much worth it. I did a video, Michelle. I don't know if you've had a chance to see this. I'm going to look it up because it's one of the videos. I used to do an annual Steam special, and it would come out on Christmas Day every year. I stopped doing it after the one that I did out at Ely. And so I'm going to find it. And when you have a chance, you can go and take a look at it because it's kind of like a short documentary.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, Nevada Northern Railroad. And
I'm going to answer his question while you're looking it up. He wants to know if we can set up a bonfire outside of the Colorado Model Railroad Museum every night. Okay, so here's the deal. The answer is no, you cannot have a wildfire around the museum. But I do have something really cool that we could do. I have a brother-in-law who's a master plumber, and he made me these hobo barrels, and they're gas fires. So they run on a propane tank, and then they look like a barrel with like coal in it, and we burn them. They're outdoor fires.
I know what we could do.
Hobo barrel fire.
We could burn Heath and have a marshmallow roast on it.
You need no marshmallows over these things because I'm not cleaning that mess up.
Oh, okay.
That's a sticky mess.
I put a link to the Nevada Northern short documentary that I made. It's one of the
Okay, I see it right there.
Yeah, it's one of the, I think, videos that I'm most proud of that I've done in the past, I don't know, 8 years maybe, or 10 years.
Nice.
Just because it was kind of a dynamic look and you get to hear from more people than just a drab, dull narrator that looks like this. So anyway, so I'm still reading some more of these. Let's see.
Most of our tourist railroads are those one-day rides, like half a day, an hour, maybe two. The longest one is probably, as far as those day trip ones, is probably the Kimbers and Toltec. I don't know of anyone longer than that, because you leave in the morning, you have lunch, and you get back at like 5 p.m. Durango's kind of similar. They're probably pretty close in length. I don't know which one's actually longer.
Yeah, if you take the full length all the way to Silverton and have lunch and then come back, it is like the full day, right?
But the Kimbers and Toltec, that's one way. One way is all day. That's not
I think
round trip.
If you go from Chama to Antonito, you have to stay overnight because you can't get back the same day.
No, you can't. So you have to do.
That might be the longest tourist ride in the country. I bet it is.
I think it probably is Kimbers.
I don't know how many miles that is, but.
Well, and you're going kind of slow. I think Kimbers has a lot more miles than Durango because they're way out in wide open spaces, and you cross the state line, I think 14 times between Colorado and New Mexico, like this, through valleys. Keith is saying Jim Thorpe. I got to see that train in Pennsylvania. There's a beautiful blue steam locomotive at Jim Thorpe.
Oh, I noticed that Robert Darby said Railtown 1897. That's one that I'm really familiar with. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be up there this weekend, not at Railtown specifically, but we're doing the Sierra Seminar and West Side Reunion in Sonora this weekend. And we got invited to go as guests. So that's going to be really fun.
This one says Sequalamy. I can't say this word.
Snoqualmie. That's the one in Washington, isn't it?
It's in Washington, right? Somebody will have to say that.
Sequalamy. Oh, he kind of spelled it wrong. I think there's an O missing after the N. Snoqualmie. Yeah.
Snoqualamy.
Snoqualmie or something like that.
Yeah. And that place is cool. And they're about to get a huge model railroad, I think.
Oh, is that right?
It's the Northwestern Railway Museum.
Okay. Very cool.
Jim Thorpe is nice because they allow dogs. Do you know who's super dog friendly? The Leadville Railroad in Colorado will let you take your dog on the run.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. They're very dog friendly.
And look what, we just got an answer to something.
There we go, Dave.
64 miles?
Longest, highest, and most authentic steam railroad in North America. I would agree with that.
I don't know what the most authentic steam railroad means. That sounds like tourist stuff.
Something that's interesting, I don't know if this happens with other tourist railroads, but in Colorado, the Georgetown Loop is owned by the state of Colorado. It is part of the History Museum. It is considered a History Museum site. So History Colorado owns the Georgetown Loop, and they have a managing company that operates it. Kimbers and Toltec is owned by the states of New Mexico and the state of Colorado together, jointly owned with two sets of commissioners who manage this railroad from both states. So talk about hard to
get anything done, right?
I would never want to run that railroad. It has a lot of bosses in a lot of places.
Yeah, that would be difficult, I bet.
Right? But then like the Durango and Silverton is privately owned, not a nonprofit or anything, just it's a business. And it's just interesting how many different types of tourist railroads there are, structure-wise.
And this other one that I mentioned a minute ago, Railtown 1897 is part of California State Parks, and it's also operated by our state parks. And I believe it's also a national or at least a state historic site as well. So
the Cuyahoga Valley Railroad in Ohio is run by a historic society, but the rail itself that they run on is a state park, and the rail is owned by the state park, and the things that go on it are owned by the historic society. So talking about a partnership, right?
Here's actually an interesting question. What do you think, Michelle? What makes a good tourist railroad?
I think for me,
that's a good question.
Yeah, for me, it's the story. It's the story of this train. It's the scenery. So there's story, there's scenery, and there's can I stick my head out a window or stand on a platform? That's the criteria for a good tourist railroad.
Yeah, if you ever get reincarnated, you're going to come back as one of those dogs that you see on the road with its head out
like
the window. Yeah, and your tongue hanging out.
Oh, it's okay if you guys ask us questions. We just thought we'd come up with some discussion topics.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to have kind of an open discussion like this because I'm very interested to hear. Here's one that I'd never heard of before. Another one that I've never heard of before.
Oh, where's that?
Carrizo Gorge? I've never even heard of that one.
You know what a gorge is versus a canyon, right?
Yeah, I remember. A gorge is gorgeous and a canyon isn't. Well, okay, so for people who don't know, since you bring it up, this is what they told us, okay, at Royal Gorge, that a gorge is deeper than it is wide, and the canyon is wider than it is deep.
Mm-hmm. They educate you on the train.
Right? So we get some information, right?
And they have an open platform car, so they get a bonus point from Michelle.
Sure. I'm thinking about what makes a good tourist railroad for me. And I don't know if that there's a simple answer to that question because the throwaway, easy, quick, generic answer for me is what the history is of it. Because I think historical stuff is really cool. Like you could stand there next to a track that's been there for 150 years and almost feel like history, like soaking in the history of a place. So if you were thinking about that, you would think that, and it's not really a tourist railroad per se, but Promontory Summit is very cool to visit for that reason, where the Golden Spike was driven. So that to me, history matters, but look at Roaring Camp. Roaring Camp, right? That has the narrow gauge line that goes up to the top of what they call Bear Mountain and comes back down. That is a really amazing and awesome tourist railroad, but it's completely fictional, as in there was never a logging railroad there, and they never ran trains on a narrow gauge over that particular land.
But they check 2 of the 3 boxes. They have scenery and they have outdoor platform.
Yes. And
it's street running. They get a box that nobody else has. Street running.
Well, see, but that's not the one I'm talking about. I'm talking about the narrow,
not down to the
right. I'm talking about the narrow gauge because it's not historic at all. At Roaring Camp, though, the beach train that we also rode, that is historic because that covers the last, 7 miles or so of a line that was built pre-1900 that went over the Santa Cruz Mountains. It went all the way from a place called Alameda all the way to Santa Cruz. It was called the South Pacific Coast Narrow Gauge Railroad. And eventually Southern Pacific took it over, and then eventually they abandoned it. And Roaring Camp, or the beach train, runs over those last 6 miles between basically Felton and Santa Cruz. So that is historic. So it's kind of like...
It's cool. So it has story, scenery, outdoor platform, street running, 4 boxes. One of my favorite ones.
But there's even more because it also has 2 pretty dramatic bridges, one over the San Lorenzo River and then one over Powder Creek, which is a wooden trestle. Mm-hmm. It has a tunnel. It has street running. It has the beach. It has the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk.
It has more than any other.
Right? It has dense redwood.
About it. That it has so much.
Dense redwood forests. That's 8 boxes that I'm counting.
Kevin owes us a shake for loving his donut. For all this free
right? You get the Texas donuts that are that big. Right. Yeah.
Okay. Keith says something. He says it's about the bathrooms. And I actually took a video. I showed it to Jennifer, but I didn't show you guys, but I videoed the bathrooms in the Rocky Mountaineer.
Yeah.
Because, oh my God, they're nicer than what's in my house. So just so you know, I've never had that experience on a train before. Like that was luxury 5-star right there. So
just in the back. Did the attendants come and help you with that, or was that?
There's a button you can push if you need the attendant.
So I could go in there, and if I'm having a problem, I can push the button. They'll come help me.
And they will be right there. It gives them a little light, and they will come.
That could be really.
They also told us how to turn it off if we accidentally hit it or something.
That
they're like, we will come in if you don't answer. We will find you. We will check on you.
That's a great opportunity for abuse. I mean, come read me a story. Well, yeah. I'm not even
Yeah,
going to go
everything is like touch button on the wall, like super fancy and like mirrored, and it was just super elegant.
there. Yeah. So we have another comment from Joey here that he thinks it's the feeling that it gives him. So
Yeah,
that's
there you
interesting.
go.
I don't
Great
know how
experience.
to quantify that or qualify that, but you know, I'm going to say something that might be a little controversial. I've done that before, and that is I prefer a ride where there's not someone talking the whole time. And so, like for example, I would go to Roaring Camp, and depending which conductor you get, for me, it's either a better ride or not as good of a ride. Now, some of the conductors I just like when we went there, Michelle, we had Charlie. Do you remember the stories and stuff he would say?
Yeah, and they
I
were
could listen, right?
stories.
I could listen to him all day. That doesn't bother me. But sometimes you go on, like, actually, I can make an example that was more recent. We went on Royal Gorge, and there was a guy that kept talking through some loudspeaker, but there was more than one person talking. And there
Yeah,
was
that
one
was
guy.
strange to have two people.
Yeah, there
That
was one guy that kept talking and he would not be quiet. And I thought, how cool would it be to ride through Royal Gorge and just listen to the train?
yeah.
Because those
So,
Jeeps have
so
the
Georgetown Loop tells you the history and everything as you go up, and they're
uh,
silent on the way back.
see, I'm gonna enjoy that again then because
Mhm.
I really
So
do appreciate a quieter
listen on
trip.
the way up because they're not going to say it again. So
Yeah, that's good to know. So anyway, we've probably beaten this
yeah, what's the? Do
question.
you have another question?
Yeah, yeah. Now this one's kind of a throwaway question, but I like it because it'll lead into the last question that I have. So I'd like to know from people, what is your favorite class one freight railroad? If you have one. I'm not sure I have one. And I guess if you want, we could even reach back into the past to fallen flags. I can tell you some of the ones that I like quite a bit. And I don't have I guess I'll answer since I just started to. I don't have one favorite. I really like Rio Grande a lot. There's just something about their paint scheme that really appeals to me, that just it's a simple black and orange, but they
Mhm.
have those barricade stripes, on the front and the back, that just is a really sharp looking paint scheme. I like Southern Pacific, I think, because that's what I saw most when I was a kid. I like Santa Fe because I think that's what I saw second most when I was a kid. And Western Pacific, I saw them also quite a bit because I grew up near Stockton, and Santa Fe, Southern Pacific, and Western Pacific all went through Stockton. So those are probably my favorite. I kind of like Burlington Northern. Just I like the green, Cascade green. So for me, it's like, which one don't I like? Right? Because I like Chessie. I thought that's a cool paint scheme. The old C&O. What do you have there, Michelle? Are you finding one that you like?
This is
I can't.
mine.
Is that
Woo,
the?
camera.
Is that a BN? What is
On the
that?
way. This
Oh, it
is
is
what
a
I
BN.
saw, except mine were black my whole childhood. Burlington Northern is probably my favorite.
Yeah.
And then my other one I have here is an auto rack.
Uh-huh.
And that would be Union Pacific. And I really like these because I see them every day. So it's kind of like what I grew up with and what I see every day. Right.
I'm gonna
And
put
I
it.
like Rio Grande too because I see a
Yeah.
lot of that at the museum. But
Oh,
I got some auto racks. I've been looking for these for a long time. So.
I just posted a question to our chat, and I want to know people's.
Oh,
I don't think there's an
you
answer.
don't know the answer to this?
No, I know what my answer is, but I've had people correct me, Michelle, and say
On
you're
Rio
saying it wrong.
Grande?
Yeah,
Rio Grande?
they say that you're
No,
saying it wrong. It's Rio Grande. It's like
no, they are so wrong.
yeah, it's not Rio Grande. I just want to see
No,
what
they
people
don't
say.
live here, so I don't. They're getting it from that dumb song on the Rio Grande. Yip, yip,
Split
yeah.
Rock says
Oh boy.
he says RIO Speedwagon.
Rio Speedway.
I like REO Speedwagon too, but
I like the Conrail. Somebody put Conrail.
yeah,
I think if I lived in the East, Conrail would probably have been my railroad.
yeah, Conrail's a cool one.
I just didn't know it. I just don't know a whole lot about it even to this day, but it looks cool.
I am curious to see how many people say Rio Grande versus how many people say Rio Grande.
Well, I can tell you that if you said Rio Grande in Colorado, where the Rio Grande was, you were going to get laughed at.
Right.
Just so you know, the people that live where the railroad is do not say Rio Grande.
Yeah. I had someone on a video that I published here on YouTube start a full argument about how I'm saying Rio Grande wrong. And I'm like, well, actually, Rio Grande is actually a river and it's a Spanish word, and everybody's saying it wrong if you want to go all the way back to Spanish.
Yeah, true.
But when it comes to the railroad, the people who worked on it and the people who live where it went through call it Rio Grande. So I call it Rio Grande.
Yep. I think Montana Rail Link is cool.
Yeah.
The more I learn about that one, the more I like it, and how they would put helpers in the middle of the other railroads going through there. I think it's got a cool story.
Is that considered a class 1 though?
It just got bought by one, so probably not.
Yeah, was it big enough to be a class? I think KCS was a class 1, wasn't it?
KCS was a class 1.
They were like the 5th class 1 that nobody really talked about, because we have UP, BNSF, CSX, and NS, right? Those are like our 4 big class 1s, and CP and CN.
And all of them go to New Orleans. I never knew that, but every class 1 went to New Orleans.
I'm not sure I knew that either, but if you think about it, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But did you mean the big ones, right?
The big ones today all go to New Orleans.
Okay.
After they swallowed up all the little ones. So.
Very cool.
Bessemer and Lake Erie.
Oh, here's another mispronunciation. I'm just going to put this on here because it's making me laugh.
Rio Grande. Rio Grande.
Let's have a Rio Grande time.
The thing that gets people here too is La Vita Pass, and they'll say La Veta or something, or Ouray, the town of Ouray. The worst one is Saguache County, because Saguache is spelled Saguatch.
What?
Saguatch.
Saguatch?
Yeah, it looks like Saguch, but it's Saguache.
Saguchi.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of very strange words that people come up with their own.
All class 1s went to Chicago. Dave Hammer is correct. They all went to Chicago. I was just surprised by New Orleans.
Well, I mean, it kind of makes sense because New Orleans is a huge port city, right? I mean, that's like the port city on that side. So
say Yosemite. Yosemite.
Oh, I've had people argue with me about that too. But I mean, to me, it's really foreign because I'm from California, and everybody that grew up here knows it's Yosemite.
Right.
But Bugs Bunny was around, and we had Yosemite Sam. Like, what did they think
we all
that
grew
was?
Up saying Yosemite. Exactly.
Yeah, what did they think that was? I never quite understood how people could get that and call it Yosemite. But I think there's a Yosemite, some other state, like in the South or something.
Really?
Now, I don't know.
Louisville, Louisville, like there's so many ways to pronounce that.
Right. Louisville, right?
Yeah.
I think most of the people as I grew up called it Louisville, Kentucky. But I've heard Louisville. Like
it's Louisville, Louisville.
Yeah. Oh, this is an even better one. Try saying Humanity Junction.
Humanity with the silent C.
Yeah, it's a silent C. That's why it's in the brackets, right?
And you know what happens, Heath, is I start to say it and I'll go, Heath is saying something. Because I give up on which way is right.
Yeah, isn't cumin one of those really strong spices?
So is it Human City Junction or Humanity Junction, right?
I think we call it Humanity Junction.
I think so too, but it looks like Human City sometimes, and every now and then I forget, and so then I'm just like, Heath's channel.
Yeah, I just say Heath. By the way, I want to speak directly to Heath for just a second here. I know I don't usually do this, but Heath, I don't know if you know this, but you were blamed for a malfunction on the TSG live coverage of the Rocky Mountain Train show a couple weeks ago.
I didn't know this.
Yeah, Heath was blamed. Someone said I was having trouble with my microphone or something, and someone said it's Heath's fault So I just ran with it.
You're like, I'll just blame you.
Yep, blame Heath. Okay, so I'm trying to read through these comments still. This is funny. Oh, that's a great comment.
Yeah, you do.
Right? Oh, this is also funny.
Illinois.
Illinois.
No, it's Illinois.
Yeah, I've always called it Illinois. I think it's like a Native American word, isn't it?
Yeah, those are the ones that get people the most. Like Ogallala, Nebraska.
Yeah.
I've had people say Ogallala.
Ogallala.
In fact, it was my own family who drove in from North Carolina. We went through Ogallala on the way in. I'm like, what? Oh, Ogallala. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
Schenectady. That's a good one too. Words that are hard to say in our country.
Yeah. Actually, Split Rock is putting a few up here. Tehachapi. I don't know how people pronounce or mispronounce that. I've never heard that one mispronounced. But Cajon. Yeah. People might say Cajun.
It's a Cajun Pass.
It's Cajun Pass.
Favorite railroad. Mopac was up here. We missed that one. So I like Mopac too.
Do you know what I've found is that it seems like people who mispronounce common things probably just don't read a lot. Do you know what I mean? Like they maybe, I don't know. But anyway, that's yeah.
Okay. Do we have another question?
I have another question.
Went to hard words to say.
This is kind of a weird question, but it is a recent event or recent happening, and it has to do with something that you might have read about last week or 2 weeks ago. That was the merger, the Canadian Pacific and the Kansas City Southern merger, forming the CPKC. And I don't know, it's going to be hard to remember CPKC. Well, I don't know. It kind of rhymes, so maybe it won't be so hard. But what do you guys think about that? I was really surprised that the Trade Commission or whoever oversees the thing about monopolies let that happen, because that's created the largest, I think the largest railroad in North America, hasn't it? Combining
it's the only one that connects to the north to the south.
Yeah, well, directly, right?
Right.
So this is that's such an honest answer. I like that.
I heard the saddest news, Heath, about New York. The Phantom of the Opera closed.
I heard about that.
Oh.
Yeah. Lots of interesting questions.
Yeah. All trains come through Chicago, Dave says.
I heard that too about Phantom of the Opera, which kind of makes me sad because I went and saw Phantom of the Opera, I think 3 times, and it was amazing.
It's amazing.
Let me back up for just a second because I am not a theater person. I really hate musicals. I think it's so far-fetched and foreign to me, like removed from regular life. Because who starts singing a song out of nowhere? But
you've never hung around me very long, have you? No,
it seems like if you do that,
I totally do, but that's okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I could see like if there's music playing in the car and you're like, oh, I love this song, and start breaking out to, singing your favorite Motley Crue song or something.
I think that's why I liked Rock of Ages so much.
Yeah, right. That's another, right? That's another one of those plays. But I really liked Phantom of the Opera. There was something about the music that Andrew, what was his name?
Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Lloyd Webber, yeah, came up with these chord progressions that were really emotional. Like they really yank on your emotion. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what really did it for me for Phantom of the Opera. I mean, I could turn on, I even bought a CD of Phantom of the Opera music. That's how much I liked it.
I like Late Night Model Railroad's daughter. He says she's bust out in the song all day long. That's me. I'm usually washing the dishes and I'll start singing some, whatever.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that other people are also commenting similar to what I said. But there was
I saw Phantom in Denver off Broadway, the traveling one, when I was in high school, and it was just life-changing. It was amazing. Mm-hmm. And so I took my kids to see it on Broadway.
Yeah.
So Split Rock had probably a really good answer about the CPKC thing.
Yeah, I saw that earlier.
That's probably the answer.
Could be. Well, I mean, it could be, because if you think about it, it's almost like, well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how they're going to run it, but it seems like a good way to get stuff from Canada down to Mexico or vice versa without having to, I mean, they
And
have
they
to
don't
run.
have a monopoly anywhere. Everybody else can get there.
Yeah,
I
I guess
get
so,
that.
right? Because I see
They just
Ferromex.
don't have to share a line north to south with anybody.
Yeah, I see Ferromex power through power on UP trains all the time, or used to all the time, and I know it's common in Southern California.
I see Ferromex, but not on UP in Colorado. I saw it on the coal lines up in Wyoming. I would see Ferromex.
Yeah, that is so strange. They must have been like,
Oh, I love that one. CPKCMOUSE.
oh boy, yeah,
We are really on a roll tonight, guys. We are just super creative.
yeah. Bradley's been getting a lot of comments put up on the screen. Oh, so I thought that. Oh, I forgot to show you. I want to show people something. This is coming out in greater detail, I believe, this Friday. But I have something here.
Oh, I know what you have.
Yeah, this should look familiar to you, Michelle. Look at this. Oh, you can't see it. Let me take it out of the box.
Beautiful OC&E boxcar.
Let me take it out of the box. I'll do this while people are still commenting. You can read the comments. Now, I better not drop this because I'll be pretty pissed off if I do.
Yeah, don't drop it.
Yeah. Here we go. Look at this.
Look at that. I could have pulled the one I have out of the box right here.
Yeah, but this is the one I have. I wanted to know the one I have.
You have the number that sits outside the museum, 12065.
Exactly. And I got it specifically because I wanted that number. And I made I made what I thought was a funny comment about people who include decals with their models so that you can have it different. And this is one of them. I don't know if that was supposed to be in there.
We buy blank ones because when a volunteer reaches 3,000 hours, they get a car numbered for them. So we bought 100 blank ones and then we took about 30 of those and put them for sale. But we also ordered, and on the decal sheet, you get so many. We ordered enough that we hand put those in ourselves into the box. We did that. So you would have decals if you wanted to change numbers.
Yeah, I thought that was a really cool thing to do.
So we thought we'd put them in the cars.
Now I would have to take off the number that's on it.
Right. But you could change it to 1066 or 67. You could do it simply and change one number.
You could change it almost to anything because the decal sheet has a whole bunch of numbers on it.
Right.
So
Bob's asking if we make it an N scale. Well, here's the deal. I bought a whole bunch of them from a company that quit making them years and years ago, and we had about 100 of them, and they sold faster than any other car we've had in our gift shop. Was the N scale OC&E boxcar. So I went to Microtrains and said, Eric, I need to order these boxcars. And then every time I see Eric, he goes, I owe you a boxcar. I'm like, yeah, you do.
Did you tell him that when you saw him?
You need to email Microtrains and say, we need our boxcars, because he's just busy. And then I forget, but we have this standing order with them. Whenever they can make them, we're going to order more N-scale boxcars.
Well, I mean, it just has to be an Evans 53-foot double plug door boxcar, right? I mean, and I know they can do it. They make all their stuff right there in Talent. So that was one of the things I wanted to mention, that this last train show, the Rocky Mountain Train Show that I covered, was so cool because I got to meet a lot of people like Eric Smith that I hadn't met before. I'd only corresponded with them via email because, we've had this pandemic thing, what Sparky was calling the showstopper for 2 years. And no one was able to do anything or have anybody come by. So it was really cool to meet him in person. John Parker came up to me and introduced himself, which I thought was really cool. I knew who he was because of his layout. It was just really cool to meet a bunch of these people, right? Bernard came out from Canada, and I'd had him on my channel, but I'd never met him in person. That was really cool. And
I think it's fun when you go to the train shows. I love meeting the manufacturers, actually meeting the people that are making your product.
Oh,
You
and
know?
you know what's really cool about meeting a lot of these people is you find out how nerdy they are about trains, just like you,
Super
right?
nerdy. Rapido, calling all y'all out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm
They're
thinking
super
like,
nerdy.
what about Lauren? What about
Yeah,
Lauren from Otter
exactly.
Valley? He is
Our
about as
Valley, his trash cars, those were cool.
yep. He's about as train nerdy as you get. I have his cars here too.
Oh, we ran his trash car at the museum last week. I need to get the video up on that. We did
Yeah.
run it around the layout.
He was nice enough to send me a bunch of these for the
Yeah, that green one. We have the Cardella.
Cardella. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He also sent me this Oak Ridge, and then this one that's WINX reporting marks.
That's
These
cool.
are really, really detailed. I mean, like, this is the same kind of detail that someone like Scale Trains or Rapido or Athearn Genesis would have on their cars. And as an entry into the model manufacturing, this is an amazing release.
Yeah.
I mean, the only entry into model manufacturing that I've seen that would that happened in the past 5 years, I would compete with this, would be when Arrowhead Blaine put out his first release, which was the committee design hoppers. I don't know if you remember those, Michelle, but
I do. I remember his first car that he put out.
Those were pretty amazing.
And then Class 1 Model Works came out with their new well cars.
Oh, I
had
have
them at the show, and they're super nice.
You can see those right here. I already did the video about these, but these are ridiculous. These are the TWF well cars.
And the detail on the top of the ends of those cars is
insane.
Off the charts. So
it is absolutely insane. And if you look on the channel, you can find the full spotlight that I did on these. But since you're talking about the detail, I'm gonna pull this out of here and show people what the brake detail's like on this end of the card. It's crazy good.
And so going to a train show, you get to see these things in person, and it's so fun, and to meet the people behind the product.
Yes. And that was another couple of people that I felt really privileged to get to meet was Steve Priest and Cynthia.
Yeah, look at all that. I don't know if it'll. Yeah, look at all that detail.
Yeah, my webcam's going to go in and out of focus
and then goes away.
I'm trying to figure out how to make it stay in focus. Is that working?
There. Don't move.
I'm telling the web camera to focus on my hand, and it's still.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. John, this is live YouTube.
I was flipping off my.
Dollar in the swear jar.
I was flipping off my webcam. This is not suitable for children. I told YouTube it's not suitable for children. Sorry, I didn't mean to flip you off. That was that was strictly for my webcam. All right. Anyway,
speaking of this is something I wanted to talk about. Speaking of like meeting the people behind the models and the people that work so hard to give us these amazing models. I don't know if anybody got to read Jason Schron's his like editorial in Railroad Model Craftsman about the mean people in the hobby that come out. And he's like, do you really think that we try to make a car that's going to piss you off? Do you think that's our like motivation, right? And his article is so well written about people being mean, and it's true because you meet these people and it's like they're wonderful and they're trying to give you the best product they can, right? It's like we're all super nerdy and so are they. So.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And I mean, think about that for a minute. Why would someone choose? I mean, unless they're trying to lose money, right?
Right. Who's doing that?
It costs a lot of money to bring a model to the market. And I recently did sort of my own editorial on a podcast about, I do the product spotlights, right? Product spotlights is where I open the box and basically I show you every side of the model. And I'm not over here critiquing it. I'm over here giving you my honest reaction to it, right? Because I don't rehearse those. I just come on and this is what you see. I put it on my desk over here and show people. Well, I've had people comment like, "Oh, you didn't even mention that the roof contour is wrong." It's like, to me, it's like, well, if that matters to you and you noticed it, why do I need to mention it? I'm not going to sit here and trash some company that just spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to bring a model to the market.
I think a lot of the times what people miss is the whole like diagram of price versus detail. Actually, price should be up and down and detail across the bottom, right? You have the line, right? We all know the chart, right? Price versus detail. So, yeah. So if you're going to complain about not having something on there, then you need to pay a lot more.
Well, either you need to pay a lot more, or you need to pay for the detail parts and put them on yourself.
Right, or do it yourself.
Yeah, or 3D print them and put them on yourself. Exactly. So I don't know. I think some people just like to complain. That's what, I think what it comes down to. And I
have a new favorite rail car. We should ask everybody what their favorite rail car is. Trinity Railcar made these cars back in February, released them, and they've been all over northern Colorado since. They're TILX cars, and the numbers are all at the top. They're white with a red stripe and a yellow stripe on the end, and they're beer and wine cars. They're refrigerated cars, insulated cars. I guess insulated is the word. And they're just really cool looking, and I really just love these cars. They're high cube, and the numbers are high. And today I saw a graffitied one, and it.
Oh no!
I love graffiti, but that one was like a knife to the heart in my favorite car. So I finally understand those people that.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Because I like graffiti, but I didn't like it on that car. So.
I'm going to show you something because I still have it. You mean those?
Those! There's my car. Look at my car. And aren't they beautiful? Just like they are. They're white. They're pretty. They're shiny. They go by every day, twice a day. And yes, they're box cars. They're I learned that they come into Greeley and they go into the Y to Windsor. They go over to the Budweiser facility, Anheuser-Busch, and they come back with all sorts of different products in them from Anheuser-Busch.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I thought I'd show it because I happen to have that handy.
You have that photo?
Yeah, I have some recent photos from our trip out there a couple of weeks ago that I'd be happy to show. But probably not this time because we're almost out of time.
Yeah, so we're about out of time. We should probably see if anybody has any last things to say.
Yeah. I mean, people are kind of saying, people are kind of coming up with the same conclusion that I've come to, which is people really just, I don't know. I mean, this is especially good.
It's their own fault for not finding joy in life.
Thank you very much, Joey, for bringing some, what do they call that? Levity to this situation.
So I have another shirt that's this color that says choose happy. And it's one of my favorite shirts. Yeah. Probably has people who whine about me so called their territory. Split Rock, you're funny.
Yeah. You know, I mean, it's okay, I guess, if your enjoyment from the hobby is being a rivet counter and just being super ultra precise about everything, but you really don't need to inflict that on other people. That's all I'm going to say about that, because you know what? If it's like, I'll go run a train at the South Bay Historical Railroad Society where I volunteer, and I know it's wrong, but do you think any of the people watching with their kids is going to look at that and go, oh, you know, that boxcar has a roof walk and your train is, you know, post 1970 or whatever. That's wrong. I mean, I know the difference, but I don't care. Like, if it's going to make a little kid smile or get excited because the train is coming.
All I care about.
Yeah. Come on,
cool.
Right? Yeah.
Well, thanks everybody for learning about the Rocky Mountaineer with me. Rivet counters will be rivet counters, including shadows. Your shadow's wrong. Move the sun.
Yeah.
I mean, that.
I do get it. And well, let me put it this way. If I were going to produce a model that I did and share it publicly, then I want it to be right. I mean, because I want to express that I know what it's supposed to be. Well, as a matter of fact, I just did that recently. I have the long distance Amtrak train in N scale that I finished recently. And I had an actual phase 2 Amtrak baggage car from 1970, whatever, that Rapido made that was correct for back then. And I would put it on my current long distance Amtrak train because they are using retro paint job baggage cars on the real ones. And it looked like it already had it. So I would run it. Well, I just entered the train into a contest at the SBHRS, and I thought, it's not right. So I'm going to get the right baggage car, which I did. Kato makes it. So I got one and I put it on the train now. So it's completely right now. It's just not weathered yet. I'm going to do that before May.
But that's your personal choice, right? I mean, that's because that matters to you.
Right. And it only mattered to me because I entered it into a contest and I want it to be more accurate because it's a contest model.
That's the appropriate place to have it be perfect.
Yeah.
That is the correct place for that to be.
Yep.
So, okay, well.
That sounds like we're going.
Thanks everybody for coming.
Michelle must be getting hungry. Or tired.
Well, no, it's just we got just a couple minutes left. How do you like the video?
Yeah. Should we ask people for one last chance to do questions? Because someone might want to know questions about
any other questions before we go? Or?
I was going to say about the meet and greet, because that is coming up, and we are not going to have another show before I'm actually in Colorado and doing the meet. This is going to be a new thing that we've never done before. We're going to do the live Talking Trains show together live in Colorado. We've never sat side by side doing this
on this show, right?
So
we're going to try to do it at the museum.
That's going to be fun. And now that you have fiber at the museum.
Yeah. We got fiber at the museum. We got this amazing internet now. It's awesome.
I'm really excited about that because we're going to do a live stream on Friday night as well. And I don't even know. I still don't know what that's going to look like, but I know I can do it because I covered the Rocky Mountain Train show live for 8 hours. So if I can't do a meet and greet for 2 hours.
That's for dinner for the meet and greet. Well, at my house, and I already had to move a schedule change. Dinner's at 6, not 5, because I got to work.
Well, you got our messages though.
I did. You guys are going to have to help. People can show up a little early, but I was going to do it earlier in the afternoon, but we're going to have to move it. Anyway, we're having burgers at my house because we do this amazing burger bar because we have this like flat top grill too. And so we'll have that and who knows what else. And my fridge is always full of ice cream. So
yeah, but you can't. Don't ask for the ice cream though, because then
really, you'll get the answer the neighbor kids get.
Yeah, you can't have it if you have to ask.
Lessons for kids.
I don't know if that's exactly what he says, but that conversation has really stuck with me.
So we should explain that. So we're in a house that I grew up in as a kid, and all the rest of the neighborhood has been filled in with families with young children. And so we have this, my husband is really super friendly with the kids. We have a golf cart they love to ride on, and we have a freezer in the garage full of ice cream and popsicles. And so they kept coming over going, can we have a popsicle? We have popsicles. So he instituted a rule that you can't have one if you ask for it. But if you come over and hang out with them, he might give you one.
Right. Because I think he was trying to fend off the kids that just come over and say, can I have a popsicle and take off? Right. They're just
right. Or just the whole, he's trying to change their mindset because kids today are so very much, I want to be satiated right now with whatever it is I want. Yeah. I want my need filled in this moment. Right. And he's trying to teach them patience and a little bit of courtesy and kindness. And they have to say please and thank you at my house. And so my husband's like raising the whole neighborhood. And in fact, he's grounded kids from our golf cart for the way they talk to their parents. He did this the other day. He grounded one of the little girls because she was yelling at her mom. And he said, you're off the golf cart for 6 months.
Oh, that's a long groundation. So, what is it? Groundation or groundment? I
don't know. But, so we're teaching the whole neighborhood lessons, I guess.
So the other question.
Someone has a Costco card. Oh, I do too. So I just have this event at the museum. So they're opening this brand new library in Greeley, and it happens to be on the same Thursday. And they're having this huge cocktail party at the museum from 4:30 to 5:30. And I thought I had coverage, but now all my staff is gone, so I have to go work it. So then I'll be running home to my house for all of the YouTube people.
So I think people are asking how much. Are you going to ask people to pitch in a few bucks? I mean, I'll throw.
If you want to throw in like $5 or something, it's fine. We'll have lots of sides. You don't have to bring anything. We'll have everything for dinner here because we do this stuff all the time.
I think everybody should throw in $5 or $10 and if you don't want it, you can put it toward the Railroad Museum.
Now, what I haven't figured out is dinner. We might end up doing dinner on our own between the Forney Museum in Denver and the Railroad Museum on Friday night, just to be fast. So you have more time running trains. Because I was thinking about it, if I bring dinner in, you guys lose a whole hour of running trains. So it might be a grab fast food on the way or something. We haven't figured that out yet. It's still fluid. It's still fluid.
Well, I mean, the whole thing with this is funny, Larry. Ground mint. No, I was saying ground mint. MENT.
Ground, yeah.
Something that people also, I think, need to wrap their head around is that the whole meet and greet is pretty informal. I mean, I know that we're asking people to tell us if they're coming because we do want to know so that we don't overwhelm places. And we've already signed up or over reserved. We should mention this. This is actually important, and there's going to be information about this coming out this week. So stay tuned to your emails. Sydney's going to send out an email about how we're going to work the whole UP Steam Shop thing for depot days, because we can only have, what is it, like 20 people, right?
And that's and at the time that I scheduled it, that's what we had signed up. And then we like more than doubled our number of people. So what we're going to do is we're going to buy the ticket from the Depot Museum, which supports them. So it's a good thing. And take the trolley out to the steam shop, and you can stay because the trolley just circles. So it's not like you're on a time limit. You can go early. So that's going to be a really fluid day for people as to where you want to spend the most time. So we have a lot of things you can do. And so, yeah, we'll send that out, but you'll have to go buy your ticket now before they sell out.
Yeah, because if they sell out, then you will miss it. And
what
I was thinking is that with that whole steam shop thing is there's good news and bad news. The good news is we can all still go. The bad news is we just can't all go at the same time.
Correct. We're not going as a group. We have to spread out because I think we're at 45 people or more.
Oh,
and
no, it was in the 50s.
Yeah, so we have like 50 people coming. So it's going to be get on the trolley when you can and go out to the steam shop. And yeah. And then dinner on your own in Cheyenne. But I'll give you a list of really cool restaurants because Cheyenne doesn't have any place that can seat all of us at one time. We outgrew the restaurants. But that's okay. It's a good problem to have.
Roy Elton is asking if we need to buy tickets for something other than Georgetown. The answer is yes.
The Depot Museum in Cheyenne for Saturday, you buy the $20 steam shop tour ticket. It's $20. It's on their website. You buy that ticket. Yeah. And Georgetown Loop at 10 a.m. on Sunday. And other than that, everything else can be bought at the door.
Yeah. Now, we do have to mention that the Depot Museum, they have a link on Facebook somewhere. And this is why I said to watch for the email that comes out, because that email will have the link where you can go get that ticket.
Isn't it on their website? Is it not on their website?
I don't think she saw it on their website.
I did. It's on their website, but we can send the link from wherever.
The point is the link will come in the email. So if anybody wants to just hang out, wait for that link, it'll show up. And then, yeah, this is Roy saying it's the first time he's heard about that. Yeah, well, originally, before we had so many people coming, we were going to just drive over there.
We were going to do an after hours tour and not take up space on the trolleys.
Right.
So we can take 20 people. Like that was the deal. And now we're so many people, we're just going to have to shift into the afternoon with the trolleys because we can't all drive onto UP property with that many people. There's just no way.
Not unless you want to meet the UP police, and I don't.
Yeah. So Roy, sorry, it got changed because we have so many people.
But this is what I've been saying all along about signing up, because if we don't know how many people are going to be there and suddenly we have too many, then there's going to be a whole lot of people that can't do it.
Right.
At all. So by knowing that we're going to have more than we had originally expected, now we can sort of, what's the word for it? Change the plan so that everybody can still do it. Right. It just won't be the same format that we originally had planned.
So look for your email from Sydney. She'll have very clear instructions for everybody.
Yeah. So Heath is asking that. She said not to buy them. Oops, wrong one.
You have to be off your trolley.
Yeah, she said to wait, but the email is going to clear that up, Heath. So just, hang tight, wait for the email, and it'll have, accurate instructions at that point.
There will be a specific time that afternoon that the Depot Museum will have a guide just for our group to talk about things. And I also will have someone at the layout to answer questions with Harry Brunk's layout. If you ever read the Short Line and Narrow Gauge Gazette over the years, Harry Brunk actually published 2 thick books with all of the articles about his layout. So yeah, I think you'll really enjoy seeing it.
This is true. Getting so many people is a good thing because a lot of people are going to see some great stuff, and we're all going to get to meet each other. And I can't wait to meet.
I think it's going to be fun. Yeah, we just have to adapt a little and buy different tickets differently, and we'll have to split up for some restaurants in Cheyenne because they just don't have a Cinzetti's.
I have one more question, and we should go because we're at our time. But I was thinking, Michelle, that we should have those little stickers that people can put on so that you know who they are. Because
so they know they're with our group. That's a good idea.
Well, or they know what they're, maybe a wristband or something so that we all can identify ourselves or each other. But what I'm thinking is, because this happens at the train show, people come up and they start talking to you. Well, I don't know who you are, but if you have a name tag, I'll like, oh, that's who you are. Okay, yeah, now I understand why you're talking to me like you know me.
Then I can make up names for people, and yeah, it'll be fun.
That would be funny. Just make it up. Like, oh, hey, Joe. Oh, that's not your name. Well, you didn't introduce yourself, so I don't know.
And don't forget to sign up for your scan from Mini Prints. You do have that opportunity on Friday night or early Saturday morning.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah. So what she's talking about, Bernard Helen of Mini Prints is going to be there, and he is doing his 3D scanning of people so that you can have yourself 3D scanned, and then you can have him print it, and you can put yourself on your layout, which is pretty cool. Or buy a bunch and put them on your friends' layouts when you visit, but don't tell them. Just put it somewhere.
You know I'm going to leave little me's everywhere I go.
Yeah.
By the tracks.
There we go. All right. Okay. So I'm going to get our little thing, our little ending thingy here queued up, but we also have a train run by to look at as.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that entirely.
Yeah, as we're going out. So let me bring that up. And this is where we say goodbye.
Yeah. So I filmed this video. This is the Union Pacific Officer Special leaving LaSalle, Colorado 2 weeks ago. It was the day after the Rocky Mountain Train show. And I was just south of town and it was rolling by. So I grabbed this video in the dark. And the sound's terrible. So I have to turn the sound off because it's windy.
We can watch it while we're saying goodbye. So thanks everybody for watching.
Yeah.
And what else? Oh, there's the horn.
There's the horn. Look at those clean locomotives.
Yeah, and they have all the lights
they are. Power car. Yeah, and then a sleeper.
Don't forget.
No, that's the business car. Which one is that one? That's the Feather River. That's a really pretty business car with like really old couches. And that one is a sleeper car, the Powder River. And this one, the Pony Express, has all the refrigerators and freezers in it and washers and dryers. And I can't read. That was I don't know what that one was. I couldn't read it. Sorry, it's blurry. This one is the Harriman Dome car. I'd never seen it before, and it's beautiful inside. This is the Overland dining car, the most elegant dining car they have, followed with the Idaho.
Idaho.
The Idaho is the observation car, and you can really see in it in the dark. There you go. Thanks for watching my run by. Thanks for coming to the show.
Yeah.
Y'all have a great month, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah. And if you're at the Colorado Model Railroad Museum 4 weeks from now on May, what is it, Michelle? Do you have your calendar open?
It's the 18, 19, 20, 21.
Okay, so 19th is Friday. So that means that it's going to be May 17th, I think.
Oh, yeah, that's the day of this show.
Then if you're good, I'll put you on the TSG Live Talking Trains show with us.
Let us know if you're there on Wednesday.
Yeah. Bye, everybody. See you next time.
Everybody. Bye.